My name is J. Douglas Turner. I'm a native of Long Island, but raised in Queens and Brooklyn. I am a classical singer, writer, librettist, and a musician. Growing up, I was raised Southern Baptist. My family's from South Carolina and Georgia, so very traditional. My dad is a minister. So definitely growing up as a pastor's kid, I had a lot expected of me from my family and from people in church. It was kind of like being in a royal family because my father was the king, my mother was the queen, and I'm, so to speak, I was the crown prince who was supposed to inherit the church eventually in some far off future, but nobody really took into except for my mom, nobody else, a lot of people that I grew up with didn't really take into consideration that I did not want to be a preacher, but they tried to like thrust it upon me. I started realizing that I was different when I was, I'm going to say 6 years old, but it was not something that I wanted to declare outright. You know, like many people, I was picked on so much throughout all my childhood because I was quote unquote different. And it kind of came full circle when I was 15, because that was the first time that I had made my lifelong friends who are also queer. Being with them in that kind of environment really helped me like come into the knowledge of myself in a very organic way. And so by the time I was 16, I was pretty much very convinced of who I was, you know, in terms of sexuality. My family, of course, I knew they loved me, but that was not something I could be open with them about at all. So there was a lot of fear of losing their love. There was a lot of fear of becoming an outcast in my community. The general attitude towards us in the church, it was a mixture of, that's a sin, you're going to hell, plain and simple. Don't ask, don't tell. And the third, of course, love the sinner, hate the sin. And sometimes it was a mixture of all three. I rarely came across any like extreme vitriol. It was always kind of this soft homophobia, this kind of, oh, he's gay. But there was not a lot of violence. If anything, it was very much underhanded. There's kind of this unspoken rule about the place of gay people in the Black church. For example, most gay men that I've come across in the Black church are church musicians, organists, choir directors, singing in the choir. And most gay women that I've come across in the church are serving as ushers, deaconesses, and oftentimes even custodial crew or security guards. So we kind of have our place in the hierarchy of where we're supposed to be. The best thing I took away from the church was music. Music, 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 music. I would be dead if it wasn't for music. Music really was like the only thing that really kept me alive while I was in the church. It was something that I could take with me. So it's where I had my first piano lessons. It's where I did my first voice lessons for singing opera as a course of study. So the church kind of like served a very, very positive purpose as far as music is concerned. I can't describe how wonderful music in the church has been to me. Like it's the one thing that would, if somebody threatened my life today and told me I had to go back to church to sing, I would gladly join the nearest Black church and just sing my little heart out. Like that's how much it's the number one thing. The Black church is very, very important to the Black community for many reasons. But you know, there's an underbelly, a negative underbelly that people still try to pretend doesn't, you know, happen or doesn't exist. But my decision to leave was one of the best things I could do for myself spiritually, because I'm free from constraints and rituals that no longer have any meaning for me as an adult.
Lay your doubts and fears aside, and for joys, and for joys the Lord provide.